Welcome to AP Workshops. Welcome to the Living With series. This one is all about the RS660. So welcome back to AP Workshops, welcome back to our Living With series. This one is all about the RS660. Now I know basically it hasn't been long since we've actually done the introduction, or at least our review on the new RS660. This is exactly the same bike that we've done now. Basically we've done roughly around 600 miles on this. It's just been for its first service. So we're kind of spending a little bit of time with it now, kind of getting used to it and kind of spending time living with it rather than just sort of giving you the first impressions. A couple of things that have kind of struck me over the time, aside from the fact that you have to kind of explain what it is to people, which is great by the way, because I think it's the colours that kind of attract people on it. It is a little bit different, isn't it? And I think this is based around the sort of mid-90s Reggiani colours. I think it Loris Reggiani. I think it might have been Loris Reggiani that used to race for Aprilia in the 250s in the mid-90s. He actually won a Grand Prix, which actually I think catapulted Aprilia onto the sort of world stage, if you like. But apart from having to sort of explain what it is, and this is the new 660, and having this conversation with people, pushing it around the workshop and just kind of moving it around and spending time with it, sort of pushing it around and while we're not using it, aside from it being super light, which does make it kind of a lot easier for people who aren't quite so confident. The steering lock's a lot better than any of the V4 or V-twin product that has come before. That does make, and it sounds really daft, but it's little things like that which kind of make the difference. So here we go, let's go and do it. 3 maps that we've got on this. Now what I've found as I've been going around is if you go around the sort of slow speed, go around the town, that kind of thing, the commute map is a lot more friendly around town, that kind of stuff. So basically as it sits at this point, when you're kind of doing a day-to-day living with it kind of thing, then the commute stuff's really good until you get out onto the road. So I'm here talking about it, wittering on like an idiot. Let's get on with it.
Let's go!
As we're kind of talking about earlier on, and as the first impressions kind of came with it when we were talking about doing the first impressions, the kind of distance between the tank and the footrest is really nice. That low sort of feel on the footrest, it doesn't half help. It's a kind of a great diversion, or a great change, a big change if you like, for what I tend to ride on a daily basis anyway, which means that the lower footrest make life a little bit more comfortable, like a little bit. The longevity of your seat time has been vastly improved. So basically that's what we're trying to do. That's what we were trying to sort of get my head round, was we're trying to sort of make people understand that the whole sort of if you imagine living with it on a daily basis, if you wanted to go and smash miles, then wait for it. Grief, I could see him moving then. Never mind. Part of the thing you've got to do, part of the things you've got to watch as a motorcyclist. This is kind of something that's going to make it a little bit more easier to ride than a sort of sports bike, a big heavy sports bike, 1060 sports bike for people that are not quite so confident. But like the commute map just changes, it just makes it feel so nice. So what's it like to live with on a daily basis? So this is just done over 600 miles. The 600 miles, I mean, it's just been for its first service. It had its first service at the selling dealer that we got it from, and those guys sort of did some recalls for us while we were there. This is not one of the bikes that was subjected to one of the engine recalls. This is one of the bikes that was subjected to one of the... Hello! Nice to see people waving. Those of you that don't wave, Cheer up. Cheer up, for goodness sake.
Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
I'm old school. I don't mind waving at ya. It's not a problem. So basically, let's put the lid down. Yeah, it went for its recall. So it went for its recall on effectively it had some ABS updates, some mapping updates, and it had a gear lever, like the gear lever shift mechanism by the sound of things. That's what needed doing. 5th gear. Let's wind it on a little bit. Quick shifters kick ass on this.
Yeah, boy!
Another motorcyclist got distracted doing 2 things at the same time. You can't do 2 things at the same time. I'm a bloke, for crying out loud. About as complicated I am with that kind of thing. It's just washing in the shower. That's about as far as multitasking I go.
That's a lot of information to get in 30 seconds.
It's just hopping up a little bit. I didn't go over the speed limit then either. Just sounded like it did, honestly. So what was I writing on about? Oh yeah, gear lever changes. Yeah, the gear lever just felt like it was a little bit stiff basically, so we could tell something had happened. But other than that, I couldn't tell any difference as it said. So hopefully I'll never need to use the ABS. Although basically, I think that's the idea. A good ABS system means that you never need to, or you can never feel it's being used. We are going to do just one quick shoulder check, make sure we're good. We are going to do a technical video on ABS systems, just to make sure that we know. I had a conversation with a gentleman who's an absolute top guy. Let's just make sure my eyes are vents shut. Top guy called Rob Hewitt. Rob's he's a Tuono fan, so he's got himself an 1100 factory, and he's got himself a Tuono Racing. Absolute top guy. But he rang up and made and asked a few questions about ABS, and he made some really, really valid points. And I think I'd like to share those points with you. Share those points. It's just cancel the indicators. Lift my eyes, scratch my nose. Oh, that scratchy nose thing. Scratchy nose thing when you've got a visor on. He made some really valid points about ABS. ABS is quite a strange thing, so we're going to do a technical video on those, so look out for that. If you want to go and have a look at the YouTube channel, if you go to AP Workshops on YouTube, you can see all of these technical videos. So anything that we kind of get asked questions, you're a bit too big, I'm not going to argue with you. Yeah, you're massive. Into neutral at a standstill. That makes a lovely change. Thank you very much. Yeah, you're way too big for me to argue with. Into neutral at a standstill. Yeah, like I said, go to the YouTube channel, put in AP Workshops into the search bar, you get a load of technical videos. I think there's over 150 technical videos, walk around videos, all to do with what goes on in the workshop and what goes on with the Aprilia product. Reviews, technical updates, how-tos, that kind of thing. Just give that a go and see what you think. Have a quick look. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Tell your friends what goes on if you know it, if you think it'll help them. Absolutely happy days. If you can give us any suggestions on what goes on or what you'd like to see on that channel, thank you very much. And if what you'd like to see on that channel, just get in touch with us. You can email us sales@apworkshops.co.uk. Snox, Amber and myself usually pick up the emails first thing in the morning. We do our very best to do what we can for people. So the one thing and the one outstanding thing, now I know this is going to sound like a daft thing to say, but I've got an awful lot of time, seat time on 1000cc V-twins and 1000 and 1100cc V4 engines. If you imagine, that's what I do for a living. So day in, day out, I ride 1000cc Italian sports bikes. That's kind of my job. I'm a lucky guy, I totally admit it, and I'm absolutely blessed to be able to do this for a living. But the one thing it has made me is utterly lazy. And the reason that makes me utterly lazy is because this is a 660 engine and not the 1000cc engine. Then I'm in 5th gear now at about just under 4,000 RPM. So if I was on a 1000cc bike, if I just went and opened the throttle, instantly the stars would kind of go into warp.
Warp drive, Mr. Scott.
And if you imagine, I'd be like, and as if by magic, the fairies all come out like off the trees. It all of a sudden the bike goes into warp speed and everything starts to go blurry and you all go really, really quick. Now, because this is a 660, it's got 100 brake horsepower, give or take at the back wheel. 100 brake horsepower. Effectively, what we're looking at then is sort of 2/3 of the power of the bikes that we normally ride to. So you've got to knock this bike down and you've got to let it rev, and you've got to rev the bike to make it go. If you rev the bike and make it go, third gear, pull it back, pull the throttle back, and then all of a sudden it starts to accelerate, but it won't take, because it doesn't have that drive, because it doesn't have that pull. It doesn't pull it. It just does not pull the sort of like it would do, and it's made me lazy. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because I believe constantly that this bike feels like. So imagine a slightly hairier, long-haired, spotty version of myself in the early 90s when we were riding around on LCs and power valves. Late 80s, early 90s, I was riding around on LCs and power valves. We were constantly tuning two-strokes to try and make them go faster and to try and give them more power.
Come on!
This bike would have been an absolute dream. Well, it is an absolute dream now, but then it's exactly what I wanted my LC to be then. So I wanted something that was revvy and I had to work at and make it feel fast and make that kind of thing. But it did actually go fast with the reliability of having a 4-stroke engine. I mean, this is exactly the bike I wanted when I was riding my 350 LC about. So the kind of low footrest, high handlebar kind of thing, that's comfortable for miles and miles and miles, that's 4-stroke and reliable, that's 100 brake horsepower, that looks fresh, that looks, I mean, look, it goes a million miles an hour on the side stand, that kind of stuff. It is good. Servicing costs, because it's only a twin cylinder, it basically means that the servicing costs are reduced. That is the kind of thing that makes a difference to people that are just getting into it, or that are just wanting to find something a little bit different. There's my old school. Christ, I'm glad to get away from that place. Any of you that are watching that went to the same school as me and know exactly what I'm talking about. And there was a bump up this road on the introduction test now, because I think as we've done the K-Tech suspension review, the lads at K-Tech did an absolutely blinding job of putting these suspension together. Does he want to go? Are you going in? Go on. Give the farmers a chance, man. The guys who work on farms, you're welcome, sir. The guys who work on farms and the guys that look after farms and that kind of thing, look after them. These guys keep this country going. Bless them. Here's this bump up here. Can't remember where it is. There's one up here, look. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, there it is. There it was. Didn't half as bad as it would have been if we was riding on the stock suspension, which by the way on this is absolutely rubbish. The forks are okay, the rear shock, no, I'm not having it. The rear shock is dreadful. We've actually sold quite a few of the aftermarket rear shocks to people that have these bikes. We've asked for some feedback from these guys. We've not published it or anything along those lines, but they absolutely transform these bikes. One of the chaps actually wrote us a long email back, giving us a bit of a rundown to see if we fancied just sort of, because I did ask for some feedback. He gave us a rundown on it, and it was just brilliant to watch, because he's clearly better. He's clearly Paul. You're a legend, mate. But basically, he's clearly better at making himself understood when it comes to describing how good the rear suspension is now after where it was, which was absolutely brilliant. Here we go. Good grief. That guy's actually wearing a cycling helmet on a moped. Well, I mean, we haven't had a chance to kick its head in. I do, and my nose is itching again. I do kick its head in. I do ride it. I promise you, I do beat it in. I do beat it up every now and again. What? I've just not had a chance today because it's been the traffic's been a little bit busy. Post-COVID day. Oh, sorry, we're not allowed to say that word. Post-situation days. The traffic's back, which is a shame, really. Because when we were out in the situation where we were when it was all quiet, the roads were clear. It was lovely, wasn't it? I'm sure we've all poked your head out the door and had a quick look at what was going on. It was very ghostly quiet at points, but that was it. So even though we're not going fast, we're going slow, there's still something to talk about. There's still the fact that this is, I believe, genuinely an all-day bike, what we call an all-day bike, meaning that you could ride this bike all day if you wanted to. The back brake works. I've not had any problems. It's not disappeared. It's not. We can get it into neutral at a standstill. The footrests are lower than they were expected. The bars are higher than you expected. It's comfortable. It's lightweight. The turning circle's good on it. It's easily balanced. And you know what? Yeah, this will do. I'm really happy with this. I think the Tuono, Carol's Tuono, Carol and Simon, I hope you're well. I hope you get to watch this because you guys rule. So the Tuono was equally as good, I think. Into neutral at a standstill, just showing off, just saying RSV lads, because and I count myself as one of those. Where's all this traffic come from? Holy smoke! So if you know, this is junction 10 of the M42. Bloody hell, where has it all come from? It's quiet, comfortable. You can commute between the sort of just shift between or shimmy between the traffic because it's actually small enough. Holy smoke, where has all this traffic come from? Do you know what? I'm going to be just drop in front of this truck here. I know, just make sure he can see me. Make sure he can see me. Thank you very much. Give him a look. Look him in the eye.
You better stop eyeballing me, boy.
Let's go for it. Oh, you Mercedes got in the way. Couldn't trust him. Couldn't trust him. Don't know. Kind of upset that, but I'm not worried. Like I said, I couldn't trust he wasn't going to move, so I ain't risking it. Too much to go home for. Little revvy bikes like this are just so much fun when it comes to the sort of scratching stuff. If anybody's raced one of these, or if anybody's took one on a track day, give me a shout, let me know how you get on. I'd be really interested to find out how you got on with it. I'd be really keen to find out how it behaved. Did you use standard suspension? Did you use different suspension? How did you get on with it? Just drop me a little note below, just so I know what's going on. Let me know. We read all of the comments. I'd be really keen to find out how you get on with it. So this is the road where we absolutely nearly lost it because of the rear suspension. We can feel the kind of, it's a bumpy road, look, because you can see it's bumping us up and down, but the wind protection, so if you can see on the front facing camera, I don't know if you've noticed, we've gone all posh, we've got front facing cameras. Hi, how you doing? So basically, the wind protection on the standard screen, we're getting a little bit of buffeting, not a little bit, but just so you can feel the vortex here, but the screen protection, if you can see the screen, if you can see where my hand is, the screen protection's here, so it's all off the chest. Let me just make sure we clear this, give this guy a mix, Mr. Euro mix, make sure he knows what's going on. Hello. Bit of a change of mind, thank you very much, I really appreciate that. Whoa, where are you going? What's that? Giving us the opportunity, still giving us the opportunity to be able to talk to you about a bike and riding the bike at normal speeds, in inverted commas. And the back brake, look at that, all on the back brake, it worked. There we go. Away in second. Auto blipper and a quick shifter. With this you are spoiling us. Real other chocolates, other dinner time chocolates are available. Is that how we put that? Although, if Ferrero Rocher want to sponsor, then I'm all ears. Ferrero Rocher want to sponsor. Product sponsorship would end up like what's that guy? Fat Bastard? The Mike Myers character, Fat Bastard. Get in my belly.
Get in my belly!
Brilliant, I love it. I'm rattling on again anyway. So look, the reason I'm rattling on about it is because the bike's just brilliant. It's just really good. It's not overpowering, it's not overwhelming, it's something that everybody could ride and have fun with. Everybody that's got on this bike that has spoken to us about it, that's ridden this bike in particular, everybody that's got off it has gone, that is a hoot. That would be, and that is a good all-day bike that people can ride on a daily basis, not get fed up of it. It's got absolutely all of the bells and whistles. It is a fully loaded bike. It's got 100 brake horsepower. It's not overwhelming, but 100 brake horsepower is still an awful lot. So this is a good bike that you could use on a daily basis. I've just got one criticism other than the shit suspension on the back. When you put your feet on the footrests, your heels rub on the swinging arm. It's a pain in the backside. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. It's a pain in the backside. 600 miles, and I've also got you know, there's like got some plastic, sort of clear plastic coating over the the swinging arm to stop it from being scratched. That is starting to rub away already, so I'd imagine after a few thousand miles that's going to start to look a bit scabby. The rest of the bodywork's holding up wonderfully, without question. That's doing really, really well. Okay, so I'm going to conclude because I'm sure you're bored of listening to me already. So basically, living with this bike on a daily basis, a couple of modifications, and the bike's absolutely brilliant. The bike is just, like I said, everybody's gone off it, gone, this is great, you've got to rev it to make it go. It's a little bit down on power to what I'm used to, but you know what? That's not a criticism in any way, shape or form. It's a 660, it's absolutely epic. It's not a V4, it's not a V-twin, you know, it's a 660 parallel twin that is a brilliant day-to-day bike. It's comfortable, it's an all-day bike, all the bells and whistles. If you have any questions that you want to ask, please drop us a comment below or get in touch with us. You can email us sales@apworkshops.co.uk. You can get in touch with us via all the social media platforms. We're all there. The website is www.apworkshops.co.uk. Have a quick look, bits and pieces, technical manuals, anything that you want, all there for you. It's any questions, like I say, just get in touch. You know what we're like. So thanks very much. Talk to you soon. So I've just been for a ride on the RS660. The question is, would I recommend it? Would I use this as a daily? Would I say to somebody, is this a great bike? Yeah, it's absolutely all of those. It's a great, up-to-date, modern, middleweight, sports touring city bike that will do absolutely everything. It's got all the bells and whistles, so yes, absolutely, I would recommend it. So what we're going to do is run some small clips of the ride that I've just been on. If you are into what you see, don't forget to like and subscribe.